a walk on the woo-woo side with me. My name is Michelle Douglas and I am on a mission to help you to step into your power so that you can create the life you desire. Visit me at empoweredlifeprograms.com to learn more. Hello. It is Thriving Tuesday and we have Q&A. And today's question is, how can I rebuild my confidence after a breakup or divorce? Now, this is a biggie, and this is one that, especially when you get to my age, every second person you meet's at least been divorced once, let alone twice. But it is a process, and there are quite a few things you can actually do to rebuild your confidence. And just, when you have a divorce, it's traumatic, and it's like your entire foundation has been shattered, and this whole idea of having to start again and get yourself out there again is a horrible feeling. And not to mention, the so-called shame because your marriage so-called failed, that sort of thing. And the thing is, I want you to know is that there's nothing shameful about it. And regardless of what's happened in that past relationship, it doesn't mean that it has to be repeated, and it isn't a reflection of who you are as a person. Now, biggest thing about when you've been divorced is to look back at the lessons as opposed to what went wrong. That's a big one, because you could spend the rest of your life beating yourself up over, what you could have done differently, or what could have been done better, or why didn't he do this and why didn't he do that? And there's no point in any of that. You're literally wasting your energy even mulling over that sort of thing. So the first thing I suggest you do to start building your confidence back up is to do some self-care. So I know from my own perspective, I was very much the giver in the relationship, unfortunately, and I didn't take a lot of care of myself, and I didn't pamper myself. I didn't give myself treats as such very often, and I really let myself down. So the first thing to do is to start taking care of you. You've got to be full and vibrant and, be the best version of you, so that if you do decide you want to go down and the relationship track again, that you're putting out the best version of you possible. So that might be that might look like, you might start an exercise process, like program, or, might start taking care of yourself that way. You might maybe get a new haircut. You might want to change careers, whatever it is you want to do. If it feels good to do it, then it could be a good thing for you. So self-care is the very, very first thing. Second thing I suggest you do, once you are, over the worst of it, first take time out, stay away from men if you can. Just take time out to lick your wounds and heal from whatever it is that happened to cause the breakdown of the marriage. Now, one thing that I know, and this isn't having a go at anyone, is that a marriage takes two, and so does the breakup. And we both contributed to that marriage and to the breakup of the marriage. Now, I've been in the process, I've been, verbally abused, and all sorts of stuff's happened to me. And even in other relationships, I've been cheated on and all sorts of things. But what was my part in that? And no one makes another person do something. However, our external circumstances are a reflection of what's going on inside us. And that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. And, when my second marriage ended, I thought, what's going on? Like, I'm the common element here, even though they both did the wrong thing. And I just couldn't stay in the marriage because of that. I was still in each of those marriages. I am the common element. So what's my part in that? And I'm whacking my microphone here. One of the big things I realized was that I needed to look at how I was showing up And in both cases, I was showing up as the masculine version of me, which was ultimately not very attractive. Now, in the beginning, I think we automatically go into that feminine, but as time goes on, we become, I don't know, we just go back into old patterns. And I had this old insecurity from way back, I guess, from probably when I was a teenager. And that all came to the surface subconsciously. It's not like I was doing it consciously. And I jumped into my masculine, and I was basically a man in woman's clothing. And what man would be excited by that? I don't know many. So that's the thing. I needed to reflect on my part, and I needed to learn how to change that part, or to understand it and step out of it. Okay. Now, what I've realized when I'm working with a lot of clients is that a lot of women are in exactly the same boat. And it's not because they want to be that way. It's just that there's some unconscious patterns running the show that they were completely unaware of. So I'm not pointing the finger at anyone here. I'm just trying to help you to understand that our unconscious patterns can be quite damaging. And when we are acting out from these unconscious patterns, it's reflected back at us through our relationships and how we are treated. And if you've been treated really badly, I would expect that there's something going on within you energetically and subconsciously that has contributed to that. It's not your fault, though, because I don't condone abusive behavior or cheating or anything like that, because that just shows where the guy was at that point in time. However, it may not have happened if you were energetically full, but if you were energetically full, you may not have gone for that guy anyway. So just putting that out there. So yeah, this is a whole can of worms I could open here, but I won't. So yeah, so the first thing to do is obviously self-care. Second thing to do is a self-reflection, and just see how you were showing up in that relationship, and see if you can understand what contributed to that. Now, if you're one of those people that did go into the masculine like I did, now that I'm aware of it, like back then I had no idea that I was doing it. But even with Laurie now, sometimes, because I'm not perfect, one would think otherwise, I know, but sometimes I go into my masculine because I get a bit excited about certain things, and I see him literally shut down. Like he pulls back, and it's a subtle thing. It's not like he's like, go away. But I see it in his face, and I see him literally pull his energy back from me. And I know that in that moment, I'm like, oh, stop that. Time to go back, be the girl again, get back into being the girl, and everything's fine. So you're going to find that there will probably be instances where you may have been, you might have been the planner, the one who did everything, the one who picked up after him like he was a small child, and one who nagged him like you were his mother. And like, what man's going to be romantically attached to his mother, right? So, and again, I'm talking about myself here. I'm in the hope that if it resonates with you, you can address it and move forward from it. So what actually happened after my marriage ended, my second one, I went on this big learning journey about the masculine feminine dynamics and how that was impacting on my life. But at that point, I still had no idea about energy and energetic exchanges. And I didn't have any idea about discordant energy and deficits and all the Akashic record stuff that I know about now, which would have made it so much easier to change it all. However, so I went and did it the long way. And what I learned over time was how to receive, how to just be, how to be the girl in the relationship. So I was dating for 6 or so years before I met Laurie, which is quite a long time to be single. However, what I realized during that time was how valuable I am. And I was being treated that way as well. Like I have never, until that point, received gifts from a man, like just random gifts from someone I'm not married to. I would receive gifts of clothing, jewelry, flowers, you name it. And I was just like, oh, wow. And I was wined and dined, and it was just amazing. And my confidence obviously went through the roof. And I had them lined up wanting to go on a date with me. Like, I had a 3-week waiting list. And like, you look at me and you're probably looking at me going, you really? Yet I had friends who couldn't get a date. So this shift in energy is really, really important. So once you sort of understand where you've, been running these unconscious patterns, and step out of those patterns and learn to lean back and be the girl and learn to receive and become the observer when you re-enter the dating world, you're going to find that you are going to be perceived as someone a lot more valuable than what you probably were before. So that's really cool. So yeah, if you are going to get back out into the dating world, do it slowly. Don't go nuts, because you're going to find that you will possibly become overwhelmed. But start slow, take steps, self-care, reflect on where you went wrong, and over time, you're going to see a gradual shift in what's going on for you in your external circumstances as well. And most importantly, stay out of the woe is me pity party thing as much as you can. Yes, you're allowed to lick your wounds occasionally, but if you do go into that state, give yourself, 90 seconds. I think Tony Robbins suggests 90 seconds. 90 seconds to lick your wounds and say, woe is me, and have your pity party, and then move on. Visualize what you want instead. Focus on what you want. You're right. Okay, this isn't serving me. This is what I want for my future. Yes, I've got a divorce under my belt now, but that doesn't define who I am as a person. I am a good person. I want to be the best version of me. So I will start taking new actions that align with self-care and taking care and valuing myself, so that I'm putting that energy out into the universe before I start dating. And what you're going to find is, yes, you'll meet some duds along the way, and that your role there is to just filter through them. It's just like, all right, I'll take one of those. No, you can go. You'll be very clear on what you want, what you don't want. And that's very, very important, that you have that clarity around that, so that you don't, what do you call it? Soften those boundaries. You got to keep, the essentials list. Remember that. Keep that in place and make sure you stand by it. Don't date a smoker if smoking is an essential, like a non-smoker is an essential. Don't even go there. Okay. So things like that. All right, I'll leave you with that one. And I hope you have an amazing week.